As musicians, we are influenced by the music we listen to and the artists we admire. But what we often underestimate are the hidden influences in our lives, the people around us, the places we spend our time, and the things we consume every day. And these influences can inspire us and help us grow as musicians, or they can hold us back from reaching our goals. In this video, we're going to reveal those hidden influences. Hey everyone, Mark here. Welcome back to another episode of Mindset of a Musician. Today I want to talk about the hidden influences that reshaped my life and my identity as a musician and songwriter. If you want to dive deeper into topics like this, feel free to join me in my Mindset Monday newsletter. Link is in the description. So let's unveil the hidden influences in your life. For a long time I only cared about the influence that music and other musicians had on my life. What I didn't realize back then was how strongly I was influenced, almost invisibly, by the people around me, the places I spent my time in, and the things I consumed on a daily basis. I simply wasn't reflecting on my life from a bird's eye perspective. And of course, it's important to listen to music, watch other artists and musicians, and learn from them. Every musician knows that, and that's how we grow. But what about the non-musical influences that shape our creativity, our musicianship, and even our ego? So let's start with the people we surround ourselves with. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. That's a famous quote by Jim Rohn, and funnily enough, I followed it unknowingly as a teenager. I went to parties almost every weekend, and all of my friends were non-musicians. So you can imagine I was the obsessed one sitting in the corner playing guitar. And there's nothing wrong with having a good time with your friends, because these moments can spark creativity and tell stories. But at that time I was just craving for exchange with other musicians. So eventually I left that circle of friends and didn't went to parties anymore, but started visiting concerts and going to jam sessions, which led to meeting new friends. And now we're going to concerts together. We're talking about how to improve our guitar sounds and how to become better musicians. So, if the 5 people you spend the most time with are musicians who get drunk at every rehearsal and never get anything done, you will probably become the 6th one. But if those musicians have practice routines, if they stay focused when it matters, if they read books, and if they take care of themselves, you will most likely adopt these habits as well. So now, sit down and take your time, write down the people you spend the most time with. And honestly ask yourself, are they supporting you? Can you learn something from them? And do they inspire you? If not, or even if the opposite is the case, you can either choose to stay stuck or you decide to search for people who help you grow. And if none of your friends can help you grow musically right now, consider taking lessons with someone who is more advanced than you are. The economist Adam Smith has a concept he calls the indifferent spectator. So think of someone who you really admire who stands witness to your behaviors. So now let's talk about the influence of our environment. Not only is it important to realize who you spend your time with, but also where you spend it. A simple example would be sitting at home and watching a movie you've already seen instead of going out to a concert. And I know it can be hard, especially these days when there's Netflix and all those streaming services. It's comfortable, I know that. But every time I pulled myself up and went to a concert or a jam session, I came home feeling inspired and fired up to become a better musician and songwriter. I might also meet someone who I haven't seen in a while or make new connections. And of course, if you're living in a city or a little village that has no live music happening, you should consider moving at least close to a city where that is the case. So now the rooms we live in influence our behaviors. For example, if you want to practice singing and you know the neighbor who hates you listens, you will probably sing with tension instead of freedom. That's why having a room that feels safe and inspiring is extremely important. For recording, I find it helpful to have everything set up and ready to go. Because if you have to unpack your guitars every time, or set up the microphones or wire everything before you can start, it will interrupt your creative flow. That's why I have my studio set up exactly like that. My guitars are within reach, my vocals are ready to be recorded, and this YouTube video also. I mean, the camera is set up and everything is ready to go. I've also communicated certain time blocks with my wife so that she knows that I don't want to be interrupted unless it's an emergency. So take your time and set up your room in a way that supports creativity instead of blocking it. And now let's talk about another powerful influence in our lives. Most people already know that technology is one of the biggest distractions to our focus. So the real question is not whether you know it, it is what are you actually doing about it? And technology itself isn't the problem because it is an incredible tool that can enhance your productivity and your creativity. It only becomes a problem when we lie to ourselves and think that we have it under control. That was me for a long time. Or we don't even realize how distracted we constantly are. It's a bit like a smoker saying, I can quit anytime. And from my own experience, I know how powerful smartphones can be. I mean, notifications trigger curiosity. Infinite scrolling triggers dopamine. And suddenly you're escaping from doing something hard like writing a song or practicing by doom scrolling for an hour. I talk about more in detail about how to control our focus and attention, and I also have book recommendations in my weekly newsletter, so if you want more information on that, join me there. So now ask yourself, whenever you're using technology, is it influencing me in a positive way or in a negative way? You could even imagine technology as a person in the room. Imagine that person would constantly interrupt you, constantly distract you, and even make creative decisions for you. Wouldn't you kick that person out of the room? On the other hand, there are things that I consume that influence me in a positive way, like reading paperback books, listening to vinyl or CDs, or watching a real good movie. These activities slow us down. They allow us to focus just on one thing without constant switching. So be mindful what you consume, because it will shape the way you think, the way you create, and the way you spend your time. And especially as musicians, we need longer periods of deep focus to write, record, and produce music, to promote it, and to manage our careers. So now this leads me to the final part of this video, which is your influence on others. For most of my life, I didn't really think about the influence I might have on others. And the influence I'm talking about doesn't happen intentionally, it happens through inspiration. So a song you write might help someone to see a breakup from a different perspective. A show you play might inspire someone to pick up the guitar. A book you recommend might spark someone's love for reading. And as artists, the more people we reach, the more responsibility we carry. The way we live our lives, the things we share, the paths we choose, way we interact with technology inevitably influences others, sometimes in ways we will never even notice. So these are some of the hidden influences I've discovered in my own life. Let me know in the comments, what are the hidden influences in your life? And if this video was helpful, leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Thanks so much for watching, and see you in the next one.